All
And
right.
we are
Pre-stream
probably live.
is now live. Yes, we have green light
Great.
on OBS. Yay. So, we're starting our stream today. It's a Table Talk special. So, obviously, it's not on our usual time slot, which is Mondays, one at 12 noon with JP, and mostly for the D&D stuff, right, Japes?
That's right.
And then one in the evening, 7:30 with me, mostly for, well, the everything else. Like the other, what was it? What are the stats? Like 54% for D&D. This is just for Roll20 though, right?
Yeah.
54% for
Yep.
D&D. I get the rest of the like
You're the other.
46 and the rest of the gaming divide. So we have some special guests with us today. We have Bim and
Hi.
Jamie.
Hi.
And they are going to be the topic of our stream today is we're here to promote an upcoming event. So on August 25th, Gamers and GMs, they are putting up, they have an event called Session Zero, and they are highlighting local creators, purely local creators of tabletop RPGs. So it's a great initiative. It's going to be at Green Sun in Makati, Chino Rosa's extension across from, what's that? Like little commercial complex called?
Oh yeah, with the Starbucks.
With the Starbucks, yeah, and the BDO.
Yeah.
Well,
I forgot
now
what
we
it's
know what
called
it looks
though.
like. So yeah, it's Green Sun across from the thing with the Starbucks and the BDO, and it's it's gonna be highlighting uh tabletop RPG creators, all local, and that makes it very special. It's the first of
That's
its
like
kind,
every
isn't it?
other street corner in Makati, though.
Ooh, ouch, the pain. It's true. But maybe the combination of BDO and Starbucks makes it like every other
And we did
corner.
say Chino Ross's extension, so you
Yeah,
know.
That's
true.
No one's
So
gonna
I
get
was
lost.
listening into our audio on the stream proper, and it sounds good.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I love it.
Yay.
All right. So before we head to the stream proper, I'm gonna go ahead and share the stream on social media.
Yeah, we
And
kind of wanted people to
yeah,
watch us. So
just a couple of minutes to kind of click on that share button. Any of you, please feel free to go ahead and do
Oh
the
yeah,
same.
sure.
What are the tags again for that Eric and company are asking us to use? RPGC. What else? Session Zero.
Session 0.
That's it. Just those two are the important ones, right?
I think hashtag road to session 0.
Right. Hashtag road to
Yeah.
Session Zero. Okay.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
double
you.
check actually to be sure. But yeah.
oh yeah, that would be great. I'm also messaging Eric, but I don't think he's online right now.
Mm,
I am gonna edit that post. It's okay. I think they work. I think in the afternoons. Isn't that right?
Yes, he did say that he was going to try and figure out how he can watch us while at work. So
Road to Session Zero. There we
Okay.
go.
Yeah, and it's also hashtag Gamers and GMs, hashtag
Right.
Tabletop Philippines.
Tabletop Philippines. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
GMs.
You taking care of all of that, Mark?
I'm taking care of it on Facebook. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how to edit the description on YouTube while it's live streaming.
Oh, I'll do it. All right. Here, let me
Okay,
take care of
thank
that
you.
for you.
Okie
I'll just
dokie.
copy what you post on Facebook.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all there.
How is everyone today?
okay. Need more coffee.
Yeah.
That's live.
Oh, you guys feel free. Like we're gonna be at this for a while. We will take a break in the middle, but if you do want to get set up with your coffee or other beverage of choice, please go ahead.
Yeah,
It's
you guys
okay.
don't have to worry about because you don't have your webcams on, so you don't have to worry about drinking during the stream or anything. It's
That's
me
a
and
good
Mark
point.
who need to be wearing pants today. I should probably put on pants because I just realized I'm going to be on stream now.
Yeah, I only realized like belatedly. I was like, oh, I could use my phone, and I was like, oh, it doesn't work on the
Yes.
phone. And then I realized, oh, I don't have a single webcam in this apartment. I used to have like 12 random ones,
Uh-huh.
and then I don't know. I just assumed my cat ate them or something. I don't know. One of the
Jam.
three cats.
Actually, GridFam will work with a phone.
Oh really? I tried
Yeah.
it, but they said I need a bigger screen.
Oh, can you get me your phone details, like what phone it is, so I can send
Sure.
it to the GridFam developers? Because I'm sure
Oh
they would
yeah,
love
perfect.
for people to try and use their service with phones. It's an
Yeah.
edge case for sure,
Yeah.
but they
That's
want to cover
why.
everything.
Okay. Let me grab my. I'm trying to. It's like a OnePlus. Let me get the exact.
Oh wow,
nice.
cool. I love the OnePlus brand.
Oh my gosh! Actually, my dad was so funny because he was trying to trick my mom and said like, "Oh no, I just bought our daughter a cheap China phone. Don't worry about it." And I looked it up online and I was like, "Dad, this is not a cheap." Okay, never mind. Thank you, Dad. I love you. So I
Awesome, Dad.
appreciate this gift. There, OnePlus A3003.
Oh wow, that's what the OnePlus 3, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad with like numbers of any kind.
It's fun.
But I love RPGs.
Yes, and that's why we're all here. We are bonded by a common love of this hobby. So, are you guys set? Are you set, JP? Are we all set? We all good to go?
Yep.
This is your show, dude. This is your
I'm just
rodeo.
checking.
I'm just coming along for the ride.
Oh, well, thank you so much. All right, well, let's hit that intro, and here we go.
Oh, I won't be able to do the sound effects for the intro. It won't be in sync. Roll. Splash. Hopefully I timed it right.
You do know you're doing that all over my beautiful intro music.
I know.
Don't you?
I love it.
Oh god.
Which I paid you for. Come on.
Well, okay, fine, fair enough. All right, so we are live. There we go. GridFam has just updated on the stream, and let's go ahead and start. So again, in case you missed the pre-stream, and in case it's not obvious enough by the awesome graphic that we have right in the middle of your screen, did you get is this the high-res version from Gamers and GMs?
No, this is actually from their stream video.
Oh, cool.
The video trailer that they made. I just ripped it off Twitter, edited it so it's a loop, and took out the masked over the falling meteor thing at the top of the
Right,
screen.
right. It's pretty. It's so Zelda-like. It
is.
really
I
is.
love it.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
So yeah, this is about Gamers and GMs Session 0 happening August 25th, a special event by Gamers and GMs that highlights tabletop RPG creators, local ones. And it's the first of its kind, and it's really something to take note of for our, not so small and still growing community here in the Philippines. And we're really proud of the people putting up this event, and most of all, the participants, the actual game designers, because guys, it's so awesome. You are publishing your own RPGs. How cool is that? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
In some ways, it
yes?
still seems unbelievable. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I agree, I agree.
Why does it seem so unbelievable? We can start off with that.
Yeah, actually, it's
Oh,
a
cool.
good topic starter.
Okay, so I'll start off.
Yeah.
You know the thing they call the imposter syndrome?
Right. Well, for the
Yeah.
benefit of those who are listening who aren't familiar, do you mind kind of explaining in a nutshell what it is?
Sure. So basically, it's when you feel that somehow you're not fit for your role. Somehow you feel some doubts of your capacity to fill the role by saying, I'm not really meant for this role. I'm not good enough. I'm not cut out to really tough it out.
Right.
But I think the funny thing about game design is because it's become so accessible these days, anybody can become a game designer. When you finally take on that role, you think, is this really it? Am I really a game designer? Am I really releasing games? So it's a lot of things that to think about and mull about.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, I think even for myself and JP, like we kind of face that every day. But yeah.
We are faking it till we make it.
Yep.
Just to let everyone
Yeah. That's so essential. I think but speaking faking to making it, like I think like my years of being a game master
Right.
really helped that, because to be a really good DM or
Mhm.
GM, you kind of need to fake it until you make it, right? So
Right.
like, I
I
just try
think
to transfer that to game design.
true. But as a counterpoint, you guys certainly aren't faking it because you are coming out with an actual product. So as I understand it, like earlier this year, gamers and GMs contacted a bunch of uh, game designers. People who have had things either in the works for a long time yet haven't published them yet, or people who have just expressed an interest in coming out with their own RPG, and essentially informing them that, hey, we're putting together this event. Here's the deadline. Here are the requirements. Yeah, let's make this happen. Is that more or less like what it was like starting out with session zero for you guys?
Oh no, actually, like I'm not gonna entirely speak for Bim, but like I think Bim and I started a little earlier. I think we started at around the same time.
February?
Yeah, around
Ah.
February. Like we both got yeah, I don't want to speak for Bim, but in my case, I started because my one of my best friends, Phil Corpus and Ben Flowers, this
Mm-hmm.
designer from Malaysia, they talked about this game jam that was going on,
Mm-hmm.
a TTRPG game jam called the Sad Mecha Jam, the Emotional Mecha Jam.
What?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and so like I'm not sure if you're familiar with like game jams. Like it started with video games, I
Right.
think.
It did, yeah.
Right? And so like
I
the
was a
idea
part of
is you
some
have
game jams here.
oh really? Oh
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, so the idea is you have a limited amount of time and you just have to throw together a game, right? And then so I that's where I started. I started with my first one, Become One. The limit was 4 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very painful. But I'm gonna be expanding it for sessions there. But that's how it started for me. So like
All right.
I just got addicted to game jams. I currently have, I'm gonna quickly count. Yeah, I currently have 17 games.
Holy. That's
Awesome.
more
Wow.
games than I made professionally while I was still in the mobile game industry.
Oh,
Are
but I
these
mean, like writing an RPG, a TTRPG is way easier than like, video games, I think.
You'd be surprised. It can be pretty easy to make a video game.
Yeah.
I mean, like the assets, right, can be easily sourced, I think, relatively.
That's part of it,
Ah,
yeah.
That's part of it.
interesting.
Yeah. But
I
not
think
Yeah,
to
and
there's
digress
Bim's
too
made a lot
much.
of games too, actually. Like she's made like she's also offering, like, if I'm not mistaken, Bim, it's 5 games in one book.
5 games in one book, and then another book, and then maybe 2 more free micro games or micro games that are
Yeah.
priced really cheaply.
Nice.
Awesome.
So, are you bringing all of these with you? So, Jamie, I think with your
Oh
20
no,
plus
not
games
all, not
and
all
not
17.
all. Okay.
But I am being a little crazy, and I'm making like one, two, three. I'm making like 3 or 4 new ones, and I'm like, why am I
Uh-huh.
doing this? I could just like
My
get the older ones.
gosh.
But in total, the goal I hope is 7 games.
7 games. All right. So 7 games for session zero. And how about you, Bim? You're bringing the five and a couple of freebies.
Yeah, 5. So the total is 8. So 2 of those are super micro RPGs, and they're
Mhm.
gonna be priced really competitively.
Oh,
But the
okay.
others are more like works of labor and sweat and effort. And
Yeah,
I'm really
Bim works a lot
excited.
on her games.
I'm really
Awesome.
excited to bring it to session zero.
Woohoo.
Yes. We'll be there on the floor too. So we would love to come by your tables. I think we're
Yeah.
actually like
Great.
more or less next to each other. Our 3 tables.
Oh, awesome! That's so great.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much.
So yeah, like we'd love to come over. Maybe if we have a camera that we can bring around. Yeah, we'll be trying to highlight each and every one of you all over there at the event.
Cool.
So okay, let's go back a bit. Let's step back a bit. You guys mentioned that you've been making all these games, but let's go on. Like, how did you guys get started designing games? You mentioned like being a DM. Is it a natural flow to go from being a dungeon master or a game master or a narrator, whatever the system
Right,
calls
that's right.
for? Like, is it a
Yeah.
natural progression to go from that to eventually making your own games? What would you say, Jamie?
Oh yeah, for me, I definitely agree because I've been running games. I started with D&D 4th edition. I've been running
Mm-hmm.
games for like I think it's like 10 years now. I think it's about 10 years, a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely think so because like when you run Dungeons and Dragons, you're really encouraged to homebrew. You're really encouraged to like make your own like homebrew rules
Right.
and that sort of thing. And I feel like it sort of trained me to want to create things, but the system that really made me like think I want to make my own game, I want to make my own version, was Powered by the Apocalypse. That system,
Nice. Nice.
that yeah, that did Apocalypse World because 2 years ago, BJ Resho,
Mm-hmm.
he was handling one of the events from Gamers and GMs, and it was supposed to be like a local theme.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of hubris back then, so I thought, oh yeah, I could just throw together a game. It's gonna be easy. I have like a month or so. I wanted to make a game that took place in the post apocalypse in the Philippines, that combined magic and technology and folklore like tikbalang and aswang and all that. Um,
Nice.
but as I started designing, I was like, wow, this is like a lot, like a lot harder than I thought it was. But that was like, I'm still working on that game. That one, it's so funny. That one's not gonna come out in session 0 yet. But
Oh, the very first project. It's
yeah,
still in the works.
it's
Yeah.
still, it's like it's actually playable if I wanted to push it. But I feel like I'm designing a lot of other games now to like get. I don't know. I just love that one so much that I just really want to get it right. You
Because
know,
it's your
so
first baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, so like that one's still like that one's still in the process. Bim actually helped me out play
Oh,
test that
cool.
one.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think you guys have been doing the rounds, helping each other playtest, right? Like a lot of the game designers have been like guesting at each other's tables and helping each other out.
Oh yeah, we try to do that. Like and Bim is one of my favorite designers. Like I love her game so much. So
Aw.
I
Thank
try to
you.
I love your games, Bim.
Oh, by the way, let's forgot to catch up with chat. Let's say hi. Eric is listening in
Hi
on
Eric.
Twitch,
Hi,
and we have Sin
Eric.
over on Facebook. Hi guys. We also have a bunch of
Hi.
lurkers. So we have someone watching on Mixer. Hello. A few more on Facebook, and then on YouTube, and also on Twitch. Hi everyone. So yeah. Um, so Jamie, you mentioned having mostly a background or being inspired by homebrewing for D&D, and also powered by the apocalypse games, which are, as I understand it, very different, like a very different beast
Oh
from D20,
yeah.
right? Like in terms of
Yeah,
what
super
the Let's
different.
Players do. We'll get back to that later. How about you, Bim? Like, what did you draw inspiration from as a game designer?
Okay, so basically, I draw a lot from my very few experiences as a game master for my friends. So these
Oh,
friends were actually college friends who
uh huh.
weren't really into tabletop RPG, so they kept asking questions like, what about this rule? How do I make this skill? Can I do this? And I realized that they asked very different questions from what more veteran tabletop players ask.
Ooh.
Right,
So a
right.
lot of my game design is actually informed by that. How do I make it as accessible as possible so that anyone can pick it up and play it? And
Okay.
I remember one day Phil also told me about a game jam. It was, I
Mm-hmm.
think, the Animal Heist game jam.
Yeah,
So
Phil is such an enabler, you know. I love you,
Phil is an
Phil.
Phil
enabler.
is the secret sauce that gave birth to this whole movement. I guess that's what
Yeah.
the impression I'm getting. Good for you. Good for
And
you, Phil.
basically, I was like, oh, I could make a game about capybara. So that sounds so
Yeah.
fun. I bet it's so easy. It was not easy at all, but it was a fun learning experience also.
So, you guys, you both of you have mentioned game jams. Like, do these happen like in in meat space or in cyberspace? Are they like local things, that hobbyists gather around, like in board game cafes or something, or is it on on forums and Facebook groups? Like, how does this work?
Mostly in cyber. I think, Jamie, we both do game jams on itch, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
mostly on Itch.io.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it's pronounced differently. I
Oh,
forgot.
really?
Itch.io.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, were they saying Itch.io? I can't. Anyway, so I say
I'm
Itch.io.
so pleb. I say
Same.
itch.io. I'm
Yeah,
too
that
basic.
too. That too. Yeah. But like, so it's on itch.io. A lot of game jams come out. As far as I understand it, Ben can correct me. It really just started gaining momentum late last year. Like
Okay.
around,
Hmm.
before then there was a game jam for. It's mostly video game jams. There was a
Yes.
game jam for TTRPGs every few months or so, but then lately
Wow.
it's like every
Hmm.
month there's at least like 2 to 4 going on now, I
So
think.
it's picked up. Like it's safe to say that it's picked up.
Yeah. I think the biggest
Hmm.
one was the emotional mecha jam. That's when things
Yes, that
burst
was
through.
really big.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because like there are
Okay.
so many games. I'm gonna look it up right now, like how many games came out for that.
So
I definitely think it reached
mm,
100 or something.
100 games came out of that one game jam. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I bet it did. It was really
Wow.
huge.
Okay, so
Yeah, the
for
Yeah,
the
jam.
uninitiated,
177 games. That's how
Wow.
many.
oh my gosh,
It was so huge.
that is an efficient use of creative time. For the uninitiated, we have comments coming in from Sin. Game jams are design fuel. So game jams, like what exactly are they? Are they like this like essentially workshops, or like is it
Mm.
a yeah? Like could you tell us a bit of how it works?
So
Yeah, Ben, do you
basically,
want to
you
take
have
it? Oh,
a
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, sure. So basically, you're given a prompt or
Mm-hmm.
a design objective, like make a game about legacy, and you have a limited amount of time to do it. You don't need to come up with a completely 100% finished product. It just has to be more or less working and ready for playtest, ready to be played by people, ready to be downloaded. It there is usually no price to it aside from the satisfaction of having completed a working product.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, because
Cool.
it's
Cool.
usually not ranked. Usually it's really just
Yes.
supposed to be to get people to make games, right? Because with a
Mm-hmm.
deadline, things change.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, like it being, I guess it's like a 1 day thing, right? Or like just over several hours. That's kind of
Oh
how it
no,
works.
it's pretty
No?
long actually. It's
Oh, it's
usually like
long.
a few weeks.
Oh, okay, okay. But yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
it's very time
usually like
bound.
2 to 3 weeks. Some of the really nice ones they run it for months. Um,
Wow.
but
Okay.
yeah, so which is why there's I think because it's longer, there's slightly more pressure to make a complete game. I think
Mhm.
Right.
that's what tends to happen. So, but because of that, there are a lot of like micro RPGs, like small scale RPGs that are good to play for 1 or 2 sessions,
Right.
or you get a lot of like experimental games that are super fun, like Monologue by Ben. It uses Jenga,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like you're supposed to play like these soldiers that are on the run from something in their mecha, but you're supposed to represent the coming monster or coming thing with the Jenga pieces as you pull them out.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So like I'm guessing like the critical failure, a failed roll happens when the Jenga tower topples over. Is that
Yeah, that's when
okay?
everybody dies. Well, but
That's an
someone dies.
okay. So it's game
Someone
over.
dies, period.
Okay.
And then you put
Someone.
it, and then you set it up again, and then so when it kills everybody, yeah,
Uh
that's when
huh.
it falls for like how many times. It's a really good game actually.
Interesting. Interesting. All
So
right.
over on Facebook chat, Sin Posadas has a really good piece of insight. She's basically saying game jams are design fuel, essentially, and I can totally agree with that because it really gets your creative juices flowing, especially
Mhm.
when you're working on a deadline, like you said, Jam. Uh, in the mobile industry, a lot of the game jams actually do take place in meat space.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
Some of the ones that I attended were at schools. Like we went to Ateneo for one 24-hour game jam, and
Wow,
it
cool.
was pretty tense. But it just goes to show you can actually
Oh
create
my
mobile
god.
games in 24 hours or less if you were so inclined.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I think I could make one in 24 hours, but yeah, it would be tense. I would
Yep.
be crying on the inside at the very least. Yeah.
um, what do you call this? So, do you think this is something like has there ever been like a purely local game designer like a game jam for tabletop RPGs? Is this
Actually,
something?
Pam from Play Without Apology.
Yes.
She is going to set one up after session 0. She wanted to put one up
Oh.
beforehand, but we were all like, Session 0, please have mercy. So
Like you
she's
guys are
going
gonna
to.
be
So this is
squeezed
a.
dry.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this is a call to other people, especially if they get inspired by Session 0, they can definitely join the game jam. And like you mentioned, all of us like to help each other out. We like to help each other play test and give feedback. We're very kind, right? We're very nice. So
Maybe you
That's
guys are.
awesome.
Oh.
We'll find out next week, like if the other guests are as kind as the two of you are.
Well,
Hmm.
one of the guests is Pam.
Well, yeah.
And
So we're
she's
in good
kind, of
company. We're in
course,
good
but she's
company.
also very opinionated. So
So
yeah, she's a
with
strong person.
yeah. Pam, if our viewers don't know, she is yes one of the I think one of the head honchos at Play Without Apology, right? Also
Mhm.
recently been
Editor-in-chief.
featured editor in chief. There you go, and also recently been featured in what is that magazine? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. I had
Oh
this in
yeah.
my notes.
Oh yeah,
Um,
same.
Dear.
Yeah, to be fair, Pam gets like interviewed a lot.
femalenetwork.com. There you
Max.
go.
There you go. But yeah, Pam is
And
super awesome. She's definitely a pillar of the
yeah. So all right. Game jams and being inspired by D&D, by GMing experience, and just on BIM's end also wanting to make games
Embarrassed.
more accessible and capybaras.
community.
Um, so yeah, I guess it leads into kind of like let's talk about games as an experience because accessibility is important. Like if I think that's why a lot of games that are not D&D, or actually no, like even D&D's current edition, Fifth Ed, is gaining a lot of traction just because
Mhm.
it's so accessible, and a lot of games also get a lot of mileage thanks to that quality. What would like with when you're designing games? Yeah, like what are qualities that you would say make your games accessible to let's say first the beginners like how does it lower the barrier of entry for people coming into the hobby? Let's start with Bim this time.
Okay. For me, I'm gonna start off with something a little bit, I guess, out of the box and say it's all about some of the pragmatic things like
Mm-hmm.
well articulated writing,
Okay.
concise layouts, making sure that you don't burden them with overly long words or text that will confuse the people, and making sure that from that perspective, anybody can read your game and immediately understand, even without experiencing it firsthand, what the game is meant to be, how the game is meant to be played, basically. So on that end, you need a lot of not just the designing part of the game, but also a lot of the packaging around the game needs to be very
Right.
well made so that it is as accessible as possible. On the game design end, it's a bit more tricky, I guess. Basically, what I would like to see is elegance in rules and basically making sure that everything fits well together like a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some rules that could stick out like a store thumb, and then they will make your game have a much higher friction in terms of accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. But on the design, on the design front, like what would you say is an example of yeah, like mechanics that don't mesh well? Like
Mm.
when you were designing these games that that you're gonna bring to session zero, for example, like did you have to discard a lot, leave a lot of mechanics on the cutting room floor, so to speak, out of what you're
Uh,
bringing?
yeah, I think for one of my games, Arc, I had to cut out some of the features because it was too unwieldy and
Mm-hmm.
already too much. Like there was a part there where you could bank on aspects, you could already bank on bonds, you could already bank on special story rewards, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt like these were actually restrictive and very prescriptive.
Okay. Okay.
And so I decided to cut some of these out just to make sure that it's as pure an experience as possible.
All right. So streamlining. It's really about streamlining in terms of both practical on the practical end and on the design end. That's what makes
Yes,
games accessible.
I
Okay.
think so.
How about you, Jamie? Like how did you like yeah, like when you make your games, how do you ensure that lots of people can just come in and and read the rules and play real quickly.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Bim said. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's when she was talking about the layout and stuff like that.
Right.
Because when I designed the game, I lay it out at the same time.
Oh.
Because yeah, like it's such a pain. But like, because for me, I tried writing the game first without laying it out. It was much harder. Like, so when I lay it out, I think how much information is on the first page. Does this image get the theme across? Does even down to the fonts, like, it's something that I think about because I just want it to
Mm-hmm.
be really clean and readable. Because like I said, like, I've been playing D&D for a long time and RPGs for a long time, and
Right.
there is this one game, Death Watch, and it's just so hard to read. Like, it's a beautiful book, but it is
Mm-hmm.
such a pain to read. It is so hard to go back and forth through. I remember playing with Phil. Phil again, hi Phil. Um, and like, I remember thinking at the time, it's so difficult to read. Like, I felt like I was studying, like I felt I was back
Mm-hmm.
in
Right.
school, and so it just made it like such a difficult experience. So I try, I can't say that I do it perfectly. Um, I try my best to make sure that the layout is readable, that it's evocative, and also, like Bim said, you have to be really hardcore about the mechanics, because especially in these micro games and these game
Mm-hmm.
jams, you're really forced to ask yourself, does this mechanic, as much as I like it, does it really support the narrative I really want to unfold at the table? Does it support the themes? Does it? And then when we play test it, I try to see what my players are stumbling over, what they question, what they're
Okay.
having difficulty with. Because like them, I also want to get more people into RPGs. Like, I trick a lot of my friends into it. Like, because it's harder to say
It's a
play D&D
trap.
with me. Yeah, it's harder to
Yeah.
say play Dungeons and Dragons or play Masks is a little easier. Masks, the superhero game, is a little
Especially
easier.
now, right, with the
Yeah,
MCU, like it's got a lot of traction
it's
going for it.
yeah. So everyone understands superheroes now. But with a lot of other games, they can be really intimidated because most people think, "Oh, I'm gonna suck at it. I'm not gonna be good at it." Right?
Yes.
Like, yeah, right, exactly. So nowadays, I trick people with like, "Hey, with my game, we get to use tarot cards. Like, this game is about." Love
Oh.
stories in Manila, and then so I'm doing two things with some of these games. Like, not all of my games, but I'd say some of them use tarot mechanics as interpretation. So I'm trying to teach
Mm-hmm.
people how to read the tarot, but also
As
how
a
to play a
game mechanic.
game.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Because like so one of those games are going to be, oh no, a few of them. Yeah, like the Magical Girl games are focused on tarot interpretation. But yeah, so like I try to, and I think, yeah, I think it's because I've also been a trainer for, like, I was training
Mm-hmm.
undercover in corporate places for like
Okay. Okay.
7 years. And I think because of that, I had to learn how to make things easy to pick up. And so I
Yeah.
try my best to put that in the games. And I'm hoping that by introducing more people into the hobby, they can pick up the other games, or they can pick up more games, or I just feel like we need more people in the hobby, period. So
Of course. It's there's always room for more when it comes to tabletop RPGs.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
I want to touch on a few like interesting points that you guys brought up. So we'll work backwards with this. So like the what you just recently mentioned, we're talking about dice. We're talking about using cards, tarot cards as resolution mechanics. I think anyone who's introduced D&D to beginners, like one of the first roadblocks they run into are the set of polyhedral dice, right? Like
Yeah, because it's
as
not easy to get. Yeah.
yeah, it's not easy to tell the difference between like a D8, a D10, and like the tens digit 10-sided die, the
Yeah, and then
12
figuring out the
D12.
modifiers and
Right.
figuring out the stats. Yeah, yeah.
So you mentioned you're using tarot cards, Jamie. How about you, Bim? Like what are you using dice? Are you using something else?
I usually use dice and
Mm-hmm.
also a deck of playing cards.
Mm-hmm.
Playing cards, I'm very much in love with at the moment because of the information it can hold, the
That's
number,
an
the
interesting
suit,
point.
the color, whether
Right.
it's flip up or flip down. And
There's more
also, I
than one
can,
axis of information,
yeah.
essentially, right? Yeah.
And I think also the same for tarot. Tarot is very much dependent on what deck you use,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's for face up or reverse side. And I think tarot and cards are very can be very evocative also. So I quite like the systems that Jamie has been putting out as well.
Oh,
So,
thank you, Pim.
what would you say? I mean, we've all rolled dice, but for the common, tabletop RPG player, what would you say are the advantages of being able to play using, let's say, a card base, like even just regular playing cards, that kind of system, as opposed to dice? Like, if you could give a few examples.
Oh yeah, I think Bim can because a lot of her games have like fantastic
Mm-hmm.
poker deck mechanics. Yeah.
So I actually have a game that doesn't use any dice at all.
Uh-huh.
And the advantage to that is I can go downstairs, go to Lawson, ask for a deck of playing cards, and then right there, I have it in my hands.
Instantly better than
Whereas, yeah.
a bag of D6s from National Bookstore,
Yeah,
right?
we are not quite there yet. We need to get it to Lawson. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, please continue. You're saying.
Oh yeah. Whereas for polyhedral dice, I have to walk quite a far bit to the malls, and then look for any store that sells specialty game dice, and then pay 400 pesos for it.
Right.
Whereas a deck of
Yeah.
cards is like 50 or something.
Right.
Mhm.
So it
Yeah.
ties back to accessibility. Like, part of that is also like it makes the games more accessible, having uh, cards as an alternate resolution mechanic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Jamie, you mentioned that you started incorporating incorporating uh like layout into your actual workflow when designing your games. Like, what's that
Mhm.
like? So you're doing rules and layout at the same time, and also
Yeah.
fluff, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, so
Wow.
if I break down my process,
Yes.
it's kind of mechanical by this point. What happens is I'm ready to go to bed at 1 or 2 a.m. and then I get the idea for the
It's like shower
mechanics.
thoughts.
Yeah, it's always like really 1 or 2 a.m. It's so ridiculous. Sometimes I'm asleep before then and I wake up at 1 with an idea. It's really bad. So like I'll write it down on my phone as much as I can because if I don't, I'm gonna be mad in the morning. And then in the morning before a session, because I'm a professional tarot reader, so before my client sessions, I'll like I need to start. So I have like the very 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 basic mechanics. Maybe like it's just like 10 to 50 words, and then what I need to do is I need to get the photos, I need to get the fonts. If I don't get those things, I cannot design the game. Like
Oh, okay.
it
It's
really
part of
won't
the
flow.
inspiration for you.
Yeah, because like it's so like things start to click together when I do it. So I usually go to unsplash.com where you can get free really beautiful photos. There are also
Ooh.
other places like Pixabay, but I really recommend unsplash.com. I really like that one the best. And then I'll just like type in random words like shattered or mirror or woman in the dark, and then just see like what comes up.
Unsplash.com. I'll check
Yeah,
that out.
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
fantastic resource.
It's so good.
Okay.
It's so good. I highly recommend it, especially because as an indie designer, you need to like find as many resources as you can, right? So,
Right. And
and
like
then yeah,
these are royalty free, I'm guessing, so you can use them in your
I
games,
believe
yeah,
or
yes.
oh,
yeah,
nice.
absolutely. Yeah. And then like I just start putting it together. I'm trying to get into Affinity Publisher. I'll
Mm-hmm.
do that after Session Zero, but for now I just use LibreOffice Writer. I'm like super ghetto. So,
Open
like
source
no
is the
one
way to
believes
go.
me. Yeah, no one believes me when they see my games, but I'm like, yeah, it's just tables within tables, like it's
Maybe Mark,
I'm just
if you can, maybe you can put up some examples of their
Right.
games on the screen.
Um, I'll try. I'll try
Just put up
and
a browser source and pull up their website, their itch.io, so we
yes.
can have a visual example to see what they're talking about. Yeah.
Are you guys up for that? May I showcase your
oh
itch.io
yeah,
pages?
Yeah.
sure, no problem. Feel free.
Okay.
Although mine are some of them are behind the paywall, so if you don't mind, I can actually send you a free copy of one of
Oh,
my new books.
Wow. Why would we mind? That would be great. But we should
that
also
is very
support local
gracious of you.
developers and pay,
Yeah,
right?
we would love
We,
to.
we should we should probably
We'll
pay.
wire you the whatever it costs after the stream. It would be our honor. Thank you so much. Hang on. Let me. Please go ahead. Let me just get OBS in working order.
Oh
Oh
darn,
yeah.
that's something that we should have actually prepared before the stream. Yeah.
It is. I just realized. But yes, let's keep the discussion going. With
Mhm.
all right, so that's your workflow, Jammy. Quite interesting that
Mm-hmm.
you pull from both, like fonts, the layout, and the images
Yeah,
to
because like
kind
I'll
of
try. I tried a couple of times to force it. Like I go, I'm just gonna type it out, and I'll lay
right.
it out after, and it refused to flow. Like it was just because like while I'm making it, I need to think about how does it read, what does it
Uh
look
huh.
like, how are they flipping through it, what
Uh
does it
huh.
look like on a screen, what does it look like on a phone, so on and so forth.
Okay. How about you, Bim? Like, what, would you care to share? Like, what's your workflow like? How do you generate? Like, what's the best way for you to produce like productive ideas when it comes to tabletop RPGs as a designer?
Well, it usually starts if I can't sleep or if
I'm
I
seeing a
have
pattern here.
Yeah, yeah.
or if I have a lot of burning questions about life. Like one of my games is literally, what am I doing with my life? And then I turn that into a game. So that's
Mm.
my process. Start with a question, really. And then I need to have the momentum to see the game design through the end because I'm the type of
Mm.
personality that gets easily bored or easily distracted. So I
Mm-hmm.
really try my best to finish and churn out the rules. And that's when I also start thinking about the layout of the game. I tend to prefer though much more text focused layout, so not
Mm-hmm.
quite as image heavy as Jammies, but just clear, simple, and elegant enough that anyone could clearly see what the sections are, what the important rules are, and so on.
Right.
And I
Uh.
also, I don't know if you'll be receiving it yet, but I also sent over Facebook chat a PDF of a booklet that I'm bringing to session zero.
Oh, cool. Okay,
So,
I will
okay,
download the sample and get it up on screen as soon as I can. But yeah,
okay.
tell us about this sample. Yeah, what is it, and what will our viewers be seeing very shortly on screen?
Okay, so the system is called ARC. So the game objective of it, really, my design objective for it was to make a completely accessible, basic tabletop RPG system. So it's completely setting agnostic. So you can set it in medieval fantasy, you can set it in cyberpunk, you can set it
Mm-hmm.
in a business corporate setting, which is
Mm-hmm.
what we did for one of the playtests. So basically, you just play a character, just like D&D. You assign a background, you assign a character class, and skill mechanics resolution is 1d6.
Okay.
Mm.
So that's
Oh,
all you
just
need,
1d6.
1d6. Yes, 1d6.
All right. Talk about accessible. Uh,
Yeah, anybody with
um.
a Monopoly board already has 2 dice for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's quite funny. I playtested it a couple of times. One of the story was that the CEO was in mortal danger and you have to save his ass.
It's so with let me show everyone at home what your respective itch.io pages look like. So here we go. Hopefully this works. Tada! Okay, awesome. Uh, so we have here, first up, we have momentos.itch.io. This is Bims, and you can see, so she wasn't kidding when she was talking about capybaras.
My
Um,
first game.
yeah, her
My
first ever
baby.
game. Which one of these uses the D6? Is it Astounding Tales?
Oh,
The
sorry,
single
sorry, sorry.
D6. Which of
Yes.
these games uses the single D6 system?
Oh, the one that I sent over Facebook chat.
Oh, there it is. Okay, Arc.
Yes, it's not yet in itch. So it's a
Ah, I
super secret
see.
project.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay. We will. So we have an exclusive preview essentially here on this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, we actually have our first Grid Fam hiccup. We have to call into Dicecast's room again,
Really?
Mark.
Okay.
Yeah, both
All
of
right.
us.
All right. All right. I'll be getting up the preview of Bim's game.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, it's almost done downloading. While we're waiting for that, let's show off Jammy's itch.io. So I think we've featured both of you actually at like in previous episodes of Table Talk, when we would crawl through um essentially when you would share your posts, your pages on Philippine Tabletop RPGs.
Mhm.
And yeah, so this is Jammy Sword Queen Games. Um, and you can see I these are all from what's that website you're recommending?
Unsplash.com. So it's
Unsplash.
UN and then splash.com. That's info.
Oh, and these are the images you sourced from there.
Yeah, the only
They're
difference
pretty.
is if they're tarot cards, it's my pictures, but that's about it.
Uh-huh.
Everything else is like from Unsplash, like no joke.
Like
So,
this is an example, Summoner's Fate. These are your photos.
yeah, from my actual client sessions when I do long distance
Nice.
readings. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and the black and white drawings are from oldbookillustrations.com. So it's also free art.
I am learning so much in terms of like where to go for stuff to fuel my own my own tinkering. Thank you so much. So that's uh all of them really do have like distinct looks based on what you mentioned about your workflow. It's pretty interesting. So I think we also have, hang on. There it is, Arc. And I'll bring it up on screen now. So this is the game by BIM, and you can see really nice art. Who did the art for Arc, if you don't mind us
I
asking?
did.
Yeah,
This is
Benzo's
you?
an artist. Yeah.
Wow, wow, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Thank
she's
you.
super good.
It's
Super great.
this is like Mysterio inspired. Um, let's see. I don't wanna show too much. Give this away. Give it away too much. I'm gonna go through. I want to show everyone like the focus on layout that that both of you were mentioning earlier, like how it leads to like more accessible games, right? So very elegant table of contents here. Nice clean fonts. I like it.
Thank you. I really
Yeah, I
appreciate
remember
it.
there was a time when Bim was obsessed with buying fonts for
Oh my gosh, buying fonts.
Yeah.
Was this before
Yeah.
or after Google Font Library went up on the internet?
Even
Oh my gosh, I haven't
after.
tried that. I go to this old one called dafont.com. It's like DA
Yeah,
font.
that's like the tried and true for a lot of graphic designers
Yes.
here.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
because it's easy
unfortunately,
to just like
a lot of them aren't okay to use for commercial purposes.
Yes.
But if you like put the check mark on like what's
Yeah,
free and stuff like that, you'll only see
you
that.
can
But yeah, I
filter
get
it.
what you
Yeah.
mean. Yeah.
Gonna scroll down through this PDF, showcase some of the art used. I like this. I'm gonna zoom out so you can see like
Yeah. A lot.
the page size.
Eh.
I like that it's not too it's not too cramped
Oh,
in here. I really appreciate like it's readable on a phone is what I'm trying to say. Like if I had this PDF on my phone, it wouldn't be a hassle to read like a lot of the RPG books out there. Very nice, very nice. Um wait,
Well,
are
maybe we
we
can continue on without Mark. For he's in control though of like what we can see on the chat. So I don't know on the screen. So I don't know how we're going to work
Oh,
around
sorry,
this.
sorry. Let me adjust the thing, the screen.
There you go. You're
Sorry.
back.
Okay, for
Did
a
I
second
drop
I
out
thought
for a
it was
minute?
gonna be like yeah. I thought it was gonna
Yep.
be like, when someone's human arms controls while there's a dog or something. Like like that's what I was imagining was gonna happen.
Oh my
Depending on
gosh.
who's the host for the streams that we co-stream, yeah, that can happen a lot. It's happened before.
I'm just gonna check what encoder I'm using. I have a feeling
Mm,
that I am not using the best one for me right now
yeah,
because I didn't.
probably. Shadzar over on Twitch
Yep.
chat is just saying, he says he just makes his own fonts in FontForge. That's
Is this
a
something you
software
guys
that
have
I've never
tried?
heard about.
It's
FontForge. Let
going
me
the
Google that.
DIY route. Very nice.
That actually looks pretty sweet. And as someone who's trying to get into calligraphy and practicing, but really badly at executing nice handwriting, I think this might be interesting for me to try out.
Cool.
JP, I have a
Yep,
technical
Mark.
question.
Okay.
I just realized on OBS we are getting
Uh-huh.
messages on the lower left screen, encoder overloaded.
That's your problem. Yeah. Okay. No wonder that stream's been looking a little choppy. You want me to host it?
Hang on. What can I do?
Eric, you didn't miss a Mark freeze screen. GridFam actually dropped our cams. What you can do,
no.
Mark, is you can check what encoder you're using. Either way, you're gonna have to stop the stream.
Yeah.
Mm.
I can still host. At least that way we don't lose any of the settings and it's easy to just get back up. So we'll take
Sure.
our first break actually. It's a good time to take our first break. We're about at the hour mark.
Mhm.
Alright.
So we will be right back. For those of you watching, that means a new video will come up because we have to stop the stream to kind of address the encoder issue just real quick. And when we get back, we have a few more topics to talk about. So aside from showcasing a few more of what they have on their itch.io pages or catalogs, we have a couple of other more topics in store, including like what is available in terms of being able to self-publish here in the Philippines for local game designers. Um, and immediately after break, like we've already kind of been dancing around the topic, but what kind of experience like do the games that are being created by Jammy and Bim? We're gonna talk about like how creators like essentially game designers rather create experiences, how they create experiences for the players and the GMs who will be, playing their games. We'll be right back, and I'm gonna play you guys out with the intro really quickly. And yeah, see you in around 10 minutes. Okay, so thank you, Bim and Jammy, for guesting. We will be right back with you in 10.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Thank you.